Tánaiste, the reality of our broken housing system doesn't seem to have dawned on you or indeed any of your government colleagues, because if it had, you wouldn't have voted last night again to make more citizens homeless in the coming days, weeks and months. And I would ask you, Tánaiste, maybe you should listen back to Tom. Tom was speaking on Morning Ireland this morning. He works, he's living in the Simon community's accommodation with 17 other people, all of whom are working and they're homeless. Prior to finding accommodation with Simon communities, Tom slept in his car for 4 months. He said, "I was waking up every morning with wet blankets, clothes were wet, so when I got into work, I take my clothes off, put them on the radiator to dry them," he said. Tom is a working man, Tánaiste. Tom is a homeless man. And now he says he is going to die a homeless man. And that is the harrowing, heartbreaking prospect into which your government is choosing to evict working families, single people, children and older people in just 48 hours' time. The clock is ticking for thousands now facing eviction. It is ticking for the family in Louth, Tánaiste, 2 adults and 3 children. They face the possibility of losing their home in a couple of weeks. One of their children has autism, another suffers from anxiety and depression. So, Tánaiste, I invite you to talk directly to that family. Where are they meant to go? The clock is ticking for a family in your own city of Cork. 2 parents with 5 kids. They've been renting their home for 5 years and now they have to get out. They are pleading with the government to extend the eviction ban to give them more time. So speak directly to that family on the Lee side, Tánaiste. Where do you suggest that they are to go when you lift the ban in 48 hours? The clock is also ticking for another family, a mother here in Dublin. She too has an autistic son and a 6-month-old baby. 6 months, Tánaiste. Just imagine that. As parents, we all want to safeguard our children. 6 months, but they have to be out in May. She has applied for other apartments, but nobody gets back to her. She says she feels sick. So tell that mother directly, Tánaiste, where she is to go when you lift her safety net from her, when you end the ban in 48 hours. Because that is the level of hopelessness that we're hearing from people right across the state, the despair out there because your government's utter failure to address the housing crisis. People are at their wits' end, Tánaiste. They're running out of options to put a roof over their heads, and families the length and breadth of this state are running out of road. Now, with eyes wide open, every single one of you over on that side of this room has decided to inflict misery, to inflict pain on those individuals. Call this decision what it is. It is a government choosing to push thousands of working families towards homelessness. When will any one of your government badges face up to that reality? Because that is the reality. When will you face up to the fact that you're choosing to make working families, single people, pensioners in your own constituencies homeless? For the love of God, we are supposed to be in here to do right, to do good for people, not to impose harm, pain, anxiety and homelessness on individuals. But you have done exactly the opposite. You are throwing those people to the wolves. So I'll ask you the simple question we've asked you for weeks. When are you going to give us an answer? When are you going to give those families an answer? Where are they going to go when you remove the safety net from them in 48 hours' time by getting rid of the eviction ban?
First point I would make, Deputy, is that the fundamental point that an indefinite eviction ban would make the situation worse and is not a viable policy is one shared by you and your party. You don't propose an indefinite eviction ban. You propose exactly the same as the government has decided this week, only you delay it for a number of months. You've changed the delay time. It was December the 31st, then it was January the 31st, and now apparently you've had a new iteration of essentially the same point. So what you've attacked with great fury for the last number of weeks is exactly what you propose to do yourselves. And in addition to that, you've also acknowledged that there cannot be a transformation in the overall housing situation within 6 months or within the lifetime of any eviction ban. So there's a very dishonest proposition being put by you and your party in respect of this entire issue, because what you really are about, through the chair, is the exploitation of the issue. And housing is a very serious issue. And it is one that I've always consistently said since the establishment of this government 2.5 years ago, or over 2.5 years ago, that it was the #1 priority. and significant progress has been made, which you just simply do not acknowledge. And many of your policies would have made the situation far worse, as is evidenced by your extraordinary decision to oppose as a party collectively about 12,000, 11,500.
You've already been fact-checked on that. Why do you keep on lying?
Leave that, but that's a fact.
No, it's
Because
not. You've been fact-checked on it.
As Deputy O'Brien said on radio last week, you want exclusively housing on public lands, public housing on public lands only, and therefore you were against affordable housing on public lands or cost rent and so on. That is exactly the position. But I want to move on, if I could, Count Corlett, move on, Count Corlett, because it's a very standard practice now in the House. There's a standard practice in the House. I've witnessed it over the last 3 or 4 days, that when government people get up to speak, having allowed the opposition to speak without any interruption, government spokespeople are heckled all of the time.
If this is going to continue,
I won't have the House misled about what I said on radio.
don't worry about the House being misled.
I'm very worried about what the
leader
is saying.
This is leaders' questions. You're not the leader. Hold your wish, please, and let people speak. And a little bit of courtesy is all we're asking for.